It's shining on you. We have music? Do we have music?
Sing.
No. We have music? We have music? I hear kind of static, more static than usual. No. We have music?
Hmm.
I hear kind of static, more
You can't
static.
hear nothing.
No.
Yeah.
If you're listening, you guys, if you can hear music, type yes or something in the chat for us, please. Yeah, that static is actually quite loud for whatever reason. It seems like it's the white noise sound. When you stop with music on your side, does let's see if that static stops.
You said what?
Did you just stop the music on your side?
I just stopped it
That,
just now.
yeah, then that stopped the static. It was nothing but white noise on this side.
Okay.
Yeah, but the track for whatever reason is not giving music.
But you can hear me now?
Yeah, I could hear you the entire time. I could hear you when you're saying, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me?" It was just no music playing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Skip the music. It's
Let's
9:03
go.
anyway.
I was like, "Is there music?" Because that static just kept getting louder. I'm like, what's happening now?" But okay,
Yeah.
we'll figure that out for what's going on for next week.
Yeah.
What's going on, family? Hey, and look, it's still 8:04. Check that out. We still
Right on
managed
time.
to get right on time. There we go. All right, what's going on, good people? It is another Tuesday evening, and it is time for another Scoop Show. All right, we are happy that you could come on in this room with us on this evening because if you are anything, if you're experiencing some of this cold that has snapped down through this Midwest, something
Mm-hmm.
probably like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you've probably been socially deprived a little bit. You ain't been out to reach out and touch nobody in a couple of days because it's been slick outside. So this is your time to get on in here and have good convo with your people. So if you would go ahead and hit that comment section for us and drop your city and state. Let people know
Mm-hmm.
where you are tuning in from on this Tuesday. And then to the left of that comment section, go ahead and hit that share button for us for the one time. Let your main line know where you are going to be for the next little few minutes, having some good conversation with the Scoop crew. All right. We appreciate it when you share our comments and our lives and topics with your main line because it lets them know that there's some good conversation going on out here, and then we are inviting them to join us. All right. That is what makes our show so amazing. We've got such a variety and diverse group of folks who tune in from week to week and join us daily in our comment section. So we like to be able to, you know, throw everybody in the back, shake it up, and see what happens a lot of the time. So we appreciate those shares. That's essentially us shaking it up from some of the continuum that we might get on your regular feeds. All right. So dropping city and state. Hey, honey. City and state in the comments, hitting that share button for us for the one time. And go ahead and get your swipers ready, because we know that there's a good possibility that you might be busy here throughout this little time frame that we're together on this evening. So we want to make sure that you have all of the availability to go ahead and lock in with us on these good replays that we've got out here for you. All right. We know that you might have to go. All right. The babies might need you. You might get that. You might get sleepy. You just might have some other things to do. Okay. You might have to disconnect for the night, but don't worry about it. You are not going to miss the conversation. You can check back in with us on that good replay on YouTube, on Facebook, and you can always lock in with us on the conversations on Instagram as well. So this beautiful graphic right here, go ahead and swipe left or right, however your device requires. Go ahead and drop that screenshot into the group chat and let the people know that, hey, if you can't tune in with us tonight, I get it. I understand. No worries. No worries. We got you. Lock in with us on YouTube at The Scoop Show, on Facebook at Real Scoop Show, on Instagram at The Scoop Radio Show. And if you are not able to tap in with us face to face, you can always, while you're at the gym, at work, roaming around, you tap in with us on SoundCloud with the audio options. Hey, SoundCloud at The Scoop Show. All right. So make sure that you hit the bells, the whistles, the notifications, the check marks, all the things that make sure that you're notified when we are live and when we are posting. You never miss a beat. All right. I am getting weirdness today.
What's it doing now?
On the Scoops page. There we are. We're back now, I think. Yeah. It was just showing us a green screen for a second. It was actually wonky. All right. And this wonderful conversation that I keep mentioning, that we love so much, that we want to invite all the people to, that is also courtesy. It's a lot courtesy of you. All right. We both got a whole lot of things going on throughout the work days and the weekdays and the weekends. So we can't be everywhere all the time out here on these internet streets. And we've got some amazing listeners and viewers who keep us tapped into the things that we may have missed. That's you. Okay. That's you. So if you're out here roaming around, getting lost in the rabbit holes and going back and forth with Twitter fingers, drop those links for us. Go ahead and tag us into those conversations. Share those with us so that we may get them up on our main pages and get the conversations going. All right. So whenever you see that cool little hashtag straight out of the inbox, accompanied with this nice little image right here. Sometimes the image is there, sometimes just the hashtag. Get familiar with them both. Whenever you hear or see that straight out of the inbox, that is for you. That is your open invitation to come on in and comment and converse with us over here in the Scoop. All right. And if it really gets good, like one did today, man, Wynn dropped it. One of the topics tonight, he dropped this bad boy, and it was like, and he just walked away. And he just walked away. We didn't hear from him for a whole hour or two. Oh, and that's just how it happens. That's just how it happens. All right. Yeah. So be sure that you are locked in on both of our personal pages, Winfred Burns II, and on mine, Miss Keila Willis is how you can find me. Not Q Willis on Facebook. I'm Keila, Quilla Willis on Facebook. So tap in with me. Yeah. And let's get straight out of the inbox. All right. That's it for that one. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Good deal. How you doing, bro?
Good day. So far, good week. Busy week, but good week. So I have no complaints. This is not what we usually say. This is not the Monday, it's Tuesday. This week. So it's been good. What about you?
It's been a good day. It's been a good day. I'm tired. I know a lot of folks saw my post yesterday where I took a little time.
Yeah.
Y'all, I am sore. I was sore last night, but I'm sore today as well. And my it caught up with me pretty good. And but I'm okay. I just have those little. I told Nasia last night I felt like I had been put in the machine, it kind of shook up real good because it was just one of them those random impacts points, where you feel like, oh, okay, that hurt, and I didn't realize that. So
I hate to tell you, but you are now entering the age where random impacts no longer just go away.
No, they don't. They don't. But I do this like twice a year. There's some type of spill or tumble, either fall down my stairs or like there's something that. Hey, what's up, KG? Appreciate that. That's. But I'm clumsy. Like my mama did not name me Grace for a very good reason. I've taken much worse falls than this. Y'all know there's been some where I'm wounded for a minute, and this one I was just embarrassed a little bit and laid down there. Not really embarrassed because I don't know what happened, but it was very quick. It was bam, before 2 steps to the left, and yeah, it was a bad situation. Yeah, so
Mary said she hopes you feel better.
Thank you, honey. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm glad you're better.
Thug it out.
Gotta be careful.
Yeah.
This one, like I said, when you get close to that 40, that 40, and I'm telling you, actually, it's 35 and up. It's like when you hurt something, you hurt for a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just let me shake it off. It's like boom. Oh, let me get some ice. Let me get some Advil or whatever.
Somewhere.
Let me get, because it don't hurt right now, but tomorrow and the next day I'm gonna feel it. So you gotta,
as that work day was winding down, I was like, oh, okay, right there. Oh, and that too. Okay, I didn't even hit that. Like,
that right there.
That was me throughout the evening.
That right there.
Touch that though.
I'm saying you gotta get you some Tylenol. Like you gotta add a leave. Get you a leave. Put you a hot pack on it right away because there's
a rotation that has to happen to make sure that I get maximum effort out of everything I use. Yeah, man. Be careful. Yeah, man. And I wasn't even outside. I was in the room. Like that's what Kel was like. She was like, "How you falling? It's all this ice outside." Yes, because it's me. It's me. If you know me, you know. Hashtag if you know, you know. Your girl is clumsy.
That's cool. I need no help. I'm glad you're recovering. So
I'm on the mend.
So, all right, you ready to jump into these topics?
Yes.
That's why I lost 50 pounds that knee. Listen, that's a different subject, but you're right. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
We don't rebound the way we used to. My buoyancy is reduced exponentially, okay? This does not bounce back.
Not what it is. Mm-mm. All right, let's jump. All right, so this first one, of course, is not this. We'll start on the sad note this morning, this afternoon, this evening. Yeah.
No,
this morning, evening, whenever you listen to it. So let's jump into it. So this weekend. Memphis. No, this happened at the beginning of January, actually.
Yeah, the video was just
right. But the video was just released this weekend. So we just witnessed the video, and we'll talk about it if you watch the video, but of Tyre Nichols, who was pulled over. Please correct me if on the parts that I'm incorrect. Was pulled over, from my understanding, from a traffic. They were trying to do a traffic stop. Pulled him over and asked him to get out. I don't know why they asked him to get out. That part I don't know. Asked him to get out of the car, and then in the process of trying to arrest him, he wanted to know what he was being arrested, detained for. They didn't give him that information and began to give him a series of commands: get on the ground, that kind of stuff. And he trying to figure out what was going on. What's going on? Why are you doing this? They had their knees on them, and Yeah, he was sitting on the ground and they were telling him to get on the ground. He's like, he's on the ground. Then they're like, get on your stomach. Like, just, it was bad. He, at some point in this, ran away. They caught him, tased him, and then I believe from the video was seven officers from the Memphis Police Department.
I think it's 6 total now that have been.
Okay.
6 have been fired total.
They punched him.
Mm-hmm.
They kicked him. They beat him with the
baton,
the nightstick baton. They tased him and left that man there all but dead. Mm-hmm. They took him to the hospital, and 3 days later, he died. Mm-hmm. So now, as of last week, the officers, the officers, the Scorpion unit, were fired, arrested, charged with second-degree murder, and all of them have now been released on bond. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So first, did you watch the video?
No.
Good.
I haven't watched any of these videos since Philando.
Yeah.
Shooting. That one rocked me. So that was my line. I have not watched any of that since then. But I did watch the interview with his mom and father and Don Lemon. I did watch that interview. Okay. And that one, when that woman said that about where she talked about her stomach hurting during the same time that was happening, that literally gave me goosebumps. And I don't know, I know, unless you're a mother, you don't understand that type of connection. That has happened with me and Adrian on a much smaller scale. It's happened with other moms that I know with their children. We do not.
My mother all the time.
We do not lose that physical connection to our children. So hearing that brought everything home for me to know that it had gotten to that level and to know that baby was that close. And
he was right down the street from the house, or what block away from the house?
300 yards, something like that. He was not far at all, which is another reason why they think he might have been calling for her in the way that he was, because he was so close. Yeah. Right. But I wanted to say something from what you said earlier, because you had said that you think there were 7 people. There may have been 7 total initial arrests, because they also included the paramedics and support aid that were around who delayed rendering him aid after he was beaten the way that he was, and then transported to the house. So there were additional arrests and fire terminations that were made, aside from the 5 officers that we were initially told about. Just today or yesterday, the 6th police officer was arrested and terminated and all of that. But that was only after the father called out the 6th gentleman. And I don't know if this was on purpose or what, but we haven't addressed one of the other things that is kind of alarming, but still doesn't really matter so much, was that the 5 officers that Wynn mentioned of the Scorpion Squad, is that what they were called? Mm-hmm. Were Black police officers. Right. And they were immediately. The images were shown. They were terminated. They were charged. It was, look at them, how heinous this was. We completely, we're against this. This is not how it is. And, all the things that we always ask for and would wish for in any of these other copy-pasted situations happened. Aside from the 6th officer, who I believe was one of the first to tase him or something to that degree, was not mentioned, was not charged, was still working until the father of Tyree said, but what about him too?
Yep.
So there's that. To me, it does not matter. It's not worse, or I was shocked initially. Not even gonna front.
I was
to
shocked.
see 5
I was absolutely
ultra dark brown
absolutely
beings across this screen, and then to know that they were the ones who did this, I was like, oh,
absolutely.
you know. But at the same time, brutality is brutality. So you get no passes from me.
0.
Period. Throw the book at them under the jail. They go boogity boogity boogity. Like even faster. Let's go. So that is literally where my whole they're black men started and stopped for me. And I instantly looked and I thought to myself, well, where's the thin blue line? Where are the Blue Lives Matter people? Yep. As irritating as I always am by the way that they show up and show out in these situations. Where are they? Okay.
Yep.
Got it. So we take a primarily black run department with a black woman, chief of police, to go through all of this and get rid of all of these black, like, that's what makes me go, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. Got it.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. As much as I wanted to be happy that it's finally happening the way that it should have been, by way of actual repercussions and consequences, and then to see that on the other side of it, it's like,
yep.
All right.
I agree, and I don't know if you saw this this James Baldwin quote that came up from this. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, so James Baldwin wrote in 1985. He said, "We used to say, if you must call a policeman, for we hardly ever did. For God's sake, try to make sure it's a white one. A black policeman could completely demolish you. He knew far more about you than a white policeman could, and you were without defenses before this black brother in uniform, whose entire reason for breathing seemed to be his hope to offer proof that though he was black, he was not black like you."
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. That, I was like, wow.
But I mean, is that not accurate? We've seen it. Like in a lot of ways, that's accurate.
We've seen it, and I to see. To be honest, that's the reason why I watched it, because in my mind, I just couldn't fathom that there would be 5, 6 brothers, just black men, just standing around. Well, couldn't be doing this. Like, maybe in my mind, I thought, well, maybe they were the junior people on the scene and were afraid to talk. You know what I mean? Like, I was looking for a reason to try to, but as I watched that video, I was like, this is, I mean, not that they would get a pass if they were, but it was that much more hideous to watch. And I get, I understand. I think that there is a similar agitation and frustration from a lot of the Memphis Police Department, because if anybody's been paying attention to what's been going on there, you recognize it's Memphis has been off the hook for at least the past year and a half. But it's just like, man, to watch them beat him like that.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. It was heartbreaking. It was disappointing. It was. It made me think like did we just, when did we get to this level of savagery? Culturally we see it, but at least with each other, it was just it just hurt. It hurt. I can't lie. It hurt. It hurt to watch.
It was it was interesting. I was somewhat in observation mode of a conversation about this over the weekend. I was out of town in Kansas City for a funeral, and we were all together, and my sister-in-law lives in Memphis. And so she had a very similar take to what Wes is mentioning in the comment section, saying that like they different in Memphis. And that was essentially what she was saying. Like, she wanted to know what happened, like what were the details, and and all of that. And I'm sitting there going, to me, to see that man, I saw the images of what he looked like after the fact, and I was like, there's no circumstance to me that would qualify this. And she wasn't excusing it, but she was saying there's a different level of they do things different there, and it made me pause because again, I don't live in this city. I don't have any frame of reference for the level of safety that they may or may not feel with what's currently going on there. But to see that man's face and to hear what's going on, and then now that they're saying, and this is alleged, not at all been able to be confirmed or not, but there's been some details that come out that this is something that there's something to it. So I'm really kind of looking to figure out what's going on with it. But they're saying that this could possibly have been related to some type of romantic relationship.
Yeah, I did see that.
You know, going left, and like the whole game mentality around, you know,
like his sister, one of the officers' sisters was his ex or something like that.
Yeah, Tyree was supposedly dating one of the ex's girlfriend, one of the cops' ex-girlfriends, and like he's sending her pictures of him on the side of the road while it's happening, type of thing. So, like, I don't know. And the reason why I say I'm very interested to know what's going on with that is because, like, why would we know about the communications that this officer is sharing with other people if there was not people talk, you know what I mean? And if they're trying to out them, they're not going to really spare much. They're really trying to make examples of these people. So I'm just thinking to myself, there's a whole lot of things that are going on, but I'm just so sick to death of seeing this and seeing it be so you're frustrated when they don't do what we want them to do, and then you're frustrated when they do, because it's never just clean. It can never just be doing what's the right thing. You know what I mean? It's always some asterisk or fine print attached to just doing what's right in the midst of something that's really, really wrong, and should be like a clear answer to what should happen here. And again, we're in the same situation. Like, well, damn, why is this? We still couldn't get this all the way right. And it's all because of this factor of whiteness that is trickled in, and it still couldn't be. You have to still side eye just a little bit, because
the point is, it feels like you said, it feels like this is you giving us this, you know. So the two main narratives that I'm seeing is see we can do this, look, but look at who you're doing this to, makes that problematic. And then the other is it's now perpetuating this idea of it's just black violence, black on black crime. And it's like, no, these two narratives, first of all, yes, if the crime has occurred, whether you're black or white, then you should be held accountable for it, which is the problem. The problem is that the system typically gives us more accountability than it would for somebody who is not black. So you can't really use that in this situation. And then when it comes to black on black crime, if that's the case, then now you have to also take into consideration of the fact that when this does happen and the officers are not black, then it's a crime too. But in those instances, you don't want to charge them. You want to put them on, you want to say
months,
years.
Yeah. Before there's ever, and then they get off. Like, and then they're still
they go work at the next county over, or they go get a job at the sheriff, or things like that. So you can't really even use those, but it's almost like, let me throw this out there just to shut y'all up. And so I'm gonna just shut y'all up. So here it is. I read an article yesterday. I think it was in the Washington Post, that they analyzed the whole incident, and what they found was that seven.
All right. Yes,
what they found was that it was like in the, I forgot how many minutes it was, like 13 minutes that this happened, they had given him over 70 commands, like seven. And at some points when they analyzed this, because they're saying he didn't comply, but they're like, well, he couldn't have complied because not only were there 5 different people, 6 different people giving him commands, but most of the time they were giving him commands at the same time. And then their commands weren't clear. Like I said earlier, they were saying get on the ground, but he's sitting on the ground, and they're like, one is yelling get on the ground, the other's yelling get on your stomach, and so you even hear in the video at some point he turns and he looks and he's like on the ground. He's like, look, y'all are doing too much.
Yeah, what is this? He's asking, what is this about? Like, what am I doing? Yeah.
And so it's like, so he never had a chance. Mm-mm. Like the brother never had a chance because you all are. He literally, the only thing that man could have did to potentially say was get out the car, lay flat on his face, put his hands, and just sit there until they whatever they was gonna do. But even then, if you watch, at some point he is in that position, and they're still hitting him. Yep. He is still hitting him.
There was something that the counselor I'm here is like, it's something that shifted where it's like, if you are looking at it, it looked like there was some point he realized this is going left, and that's when he ran. Like that's and when I read that, I thought, oh yeah, well, I know what that feels like. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if it's just a black thing or if it's a human feeling that we get when, okay, this ain't, I don't care what they lips say, I know that this is different. You know what I mean? And if they did know him, like what if they did know and they got conversation, if there's some previous interactions going on, and I realize who's now surrounding my vehicle and who's all asking me to do these things and how this is now stacking up. I'm looking at all these people around me. Oh no, bro. No, and I'm like, no, I might wing it. You know what I mean? And in the middle of that fight or flight, I can't fight all 5 of y'all. You know what I mean? Or whatever the situation may be. So my instinct is to fight. And like, you can't fathom that type of fear if that's not something that is in your frame of reference. But I think all of us with this brown skin completely can understand what that feels like. If you are in any of these marginalized groups where your person is consistently expected to be victimized at some point, or it's going to, y'all know what I'm trying to say. There is a different level of awareness that we have of our surroundings, and I can completely understand. And that's why I don't always, you will rarely hear me be like, well, why did you run? I get it. And it's not always because I'm just trying to get over on this crime. You know, I'm going to get off on this crime. No, I don't think that's rarely why people run in those types of situations. So if he was realizing that this is going left real fast, I get that. I want all of them to go to jail for how the maximum amount of time. Anyone involved with the delay of care, with the beating of this man, for any of that, throw all of the books, the whole damn library, knock the shelves over, as far as I'm concerned. Bye.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Yep. And let's keep the same energy when it happens again. It's gonna happen again.
I mean, it's already, listen, absolutely. It's already happened, but yeah. So, well, again, we continue. We're gonna, praying for his family, and let me throw this out there. I'm probably gonna get in trouble for saying this.
Oh, no.
Here's my only thing. Why do we continue? I say this every time we have this, and people just, why do we keep calling Ben Crumb? Why don't we got somebody else we could that can do? And I know Ben get the money, but
but he don't always get the money. That's the reason why people he gets some money, but he gets some money. But
can we? And he probably a good brother. I don't know the man, but why do we keep putting Ben Crumb out here?
I don't know. That brother must have hella points wrecked up on somebody's airline because he shows up like Johnny on the spot immediately.
Every
They still notifying family, and Ben Crump is at the door. I don't understand.
and so I mean, I had some insight to the situation that was here with Patrick Lagoya when that happened here, and it was the same thing. It happened before, like he was. I was like, how he get there already?
Yeah,
it's almost like a bat signal or something that he has that he just. But why do we keep calling him to let him represent?
Don't know.
Can somebody? I need somebody to help me.
I'm like, is there only one? It feels very much like there can only be one, and like he's the only one available.
He got a gray one too. Actually, he wearing a gray with the purple, like to let us know he a Q or something.
That's that wrinkle-free joint that he can throw in any carry-on and shake that bad boy ready, and he's ready for the press release. Okay, because he has suit will travel. Okay, yeah, I don't understand it. The man, and again, obviously we don't know him, and there are times where he has been able to secure a bag, but I often I don't know why. I don't know. It's something about it.
And I'll say this: the people who I know who work with him speak very highly of him. So I mean,
I think in the past we've had this conversation, or we've attempted to have this conversation about him before, and I think it was stated like this isn't his normal practice. Like this isn't. He's generally some other type of lawyer, I think. And then now this has been his thing. And my thing on that is, okay, fine. I appreciate your enthusiasm. However, these situations are not where you like gain your experience. We would much rather you be second or like third chair, like at the table, but not the main person that we're talking to, so that we can actually do what we need to do. Because consistently we're overcharging. We're doing all of this extra where it's so big and so grandiose that even us as people who have not taken their class, had no lectures from anybody, can be like, that ain't gonna work. That's too much. We barely got them in there, and like we're gonna go this hard, like we know better. And then after it's all said and done, we always hear, well, if it would have been easier if it would have just been we could have possibly got him on this if it would have been this, and it would have and we're thinking, well, we knew that. Like we've been telling them that.
We don't watch enough Matlock to know that. Come on.
Yes. Law and Order and them would have told us that this was too much. Like, come on. So I don't understand like why we keep allowing him to.
I don't know.
Figure it out over our black bodies. I'm not really.
No. I'm gonna ask. I think I'm gonna ask somebody. I'm like, maybe I ask like Roland Martin. Like somebody help me understand why we call.
I don't get it.
I have questions. Like again, I'm not suggesting he's not. I don't know. I just need like, is he the only one?
He can't be. It feels we can only have one at a time because there's always like they rotate them out. When we lost not Sharpton.
Johnny Cochran.
Yeah, like what I mean. Like it was just I don't understand it. I don't understand it. He would not be who would be sitting next to me on my couch or at my press release, my press conference or whatever. He makes me do this way too often. I close that eye and have to cock my head to the side way too often when he speaks.
I mean, so I gotta ask somebody, KG. Roland might have a better.
Inquiring minds
need to understand.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's keep it moving. All right. So another very interesting thing happened this past weekend. So I don't know if you all have heard of the I don't know. KG say Johnny Cochran got assassinated.
Mm-hmm. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah. So I don't know. Have you all heard of Operation Nightingale?
Mm-hmm.
So
child.
Operation Nightingale. So this past weekend it was 25, at least 25 people were arrested for was this federal agents launched a multi-state operation that focused on busting a massive fraudulent nursing diploma scheme. So what they were doing was there was a school in Florida that was selling fake and fraudulent nursing diplomas, fraudulent diplomas and fake transcript to nurses, to fake nurses for $15,000 each. And so those nurses were then getting the test, a fake test, saying that they passed the test, the NCLEX, I think is what it's called, and were getting jobs in actual hospitals where they were taking care of actual patients without a nursing degree, and they finally busted this ring.
So I did hear before we go forward with this. I heard in just a little edit to maybe we could figure. I'll do a little more research while we're chatting it. But I think it was they were selling the transcripts so that they were eligible to take the test, but they weren't selling the actual test. Like they were still having, where they still had, they were getting the paperwork that allowed them to qualify to take the test, but they were still required to go in and take the actual test.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
So like I needed the prereq in the transcript to say that you had taken the 50 million hours and all the courses and all that. That's what they were paying for. And then they were taking that paperwork to the NCLEX people. And they're like, oh, okay, cool, check. They take their test and go on and with their license. But yes.
So some of these people were working. They were they said they were working, and then only like 30% of them actually passed the test. So 30% of the people who they did this actually passed the test without going to school, without being taking the classes. And then I was reading where a lot of them were doing like the traveling nurse thing, and so they were making like hundreds of $1,000s a year doing this. Wow.
Yeah, because what I've also heard is there's something that you can pay when you get your license that basically licenses you up to like 40 states, which allows for that traveling nurse thing. There's only like 4 or 5, I believe, states that require each nurse to apply and go through things with them individually to be licensed in their state, like Texas, California, I think Delaware. There's a couple states that you can't, but for those people who are who chose that option, if they can move around. So other details about this, like Gwen was saying, there's 25 people who have been charged federally with wire fraud, is what they've been charged with, which is up to a 20-year sentence for each of these people. And that, though, like I said, these are Fed charges for these people. Now, for the students, their punishments are being left up to the states in which they are practicing. So, for example, Delaware has revoked the licenses of any of these students that are attached to this scandal. That period, the end, you got to go, period. But some of these other states, if other states do not catch on or move swiftly or anything like that, and especially if we got some of these, multi-state accreditations and we get to move, you might be able to bob and weave a little bit, unless they're sending out this list to all these, unless there's this mass text, they put all the hospitals in a group chat and let them know who our weakest links are. It could be quite a while before folks are found out in the midst of this, and in the midst of a nurse shortage, in the midst of the times when people are so frustrated with the cost of going to school and all of the other stuff. Like all of these factors all these chickens coming home to roost from these
Mhm.
problems that have been boiling under the surface. And now our actual whole ass lives are in more danger than even before. Because if you know nurses, you know that a lot of the times they're your primary
They're the
care.
ones who run. Yeah, they run the show.
They are the primary care. And yeah.
I forget who I was listening to, but he made the point. The guy made the point that part of the reason why they're so unwilling to either fire these people or even release the names is because a lot of the facilities are afraid, the hospitals are afraid that patients then will come back and sue them, because which makes sense. They're like, I hadn't thought about that initially. Like if you prove that, even if you were in line with your hiring practices, that if you prove that you put somebody on a patient and they were negligent, now that hospital is now liable. And so they're like, no, these hospitals are gonna cover it up as best as they can to make sure, that they don't get sued. Wow. I didn't think about that, but it made me think about, especially this happening during like COVID, how many people, what was missed? What was missed because of this? That's what I thought about. How many lives were messed up because of this? Lost.
Our systems are trash. Education, financial, medical, our structures are trash. Because as much as I hate like the whole premise of the fact that there are potentially unqualified, nurses and caregivers out here taking care of people, I can also empathize with the need to know this is what I am called to do. This is where I need to, this is what I am supposed to be doing, but understand that 6 years of extreme back-to-back schooling with those costs and then the cost of living and all of these other things going on, I might not ever be able to just apply at this rate. So with all of it, what is it? And then now they offering this for the low price of $6,999. You too could be a nurse and nothing, and all this other stuff. And so I can, while I do not at all condone, I can empathize with why a person would make those hard decisions and toy with the thought. I can understand that, because they're thinking, could be a while before I'm found out. I'm really good. I could do what all these other things that make them justify that in their minds. I just look at our systems are really trash. We have some really, really trash.
I hear you. I just feel like when it comes to, like you're talking about teacher, and I'm not suggesting that teachers are not important, but a nurse, like you prescribe.
Oh no, it's all important. Yeah, no.
Medicine to people. And this is,
I'm in no way suggesting that this is the route.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting you. I'm just saying, I think this, like when you talking about like prescribing medication, having to know what to do when somebody codes, knowing how to know, like picking up on the signs of an issue with something, like, ooh.
There's some stuff that comes with wisdom and experience, and then some you're supposed to know out the door, out the gate. You're supposed to know, and you do not get that if you missed all those classes. There's a reason they're in school for so long. This is lives. Period. Can't play around with that. Can't wing it.
So it made me think about that. Like, how many are there just gonna be an influx of legal actions that are taken if your loved one was in the hospital around that time, or if you figure out that there was a right, KG, this is clinical, right? So I mean, is there what's going to happen to these hospitals? And then of course, because to your point, our systems are trash. We know what's going to happen when this happens. What this happens is all they're going to do is raise the prices, their prices even more to make their money back up by charging the consumer, which is us, which is our insurance.
You just lost they laid off 100 plus admin and support staff a couple weeks ago at the OU hospitals.
Did they?
and it was all over the news. Devastated the already suffering OU medical system over there. Those types of things. So it's like, how long will we delay it? Will we, what's gonna happen?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
On the calm down of a pandemic.
Yep.
Calm down.
Yep.
Yeah, crazy. Craziness.
Absolutely. We'll keep watching. We will definitely keep watching.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You ready to keep it moving?
Yeah.
Nike. So Nike. Okay, is it Bape? Am I saying it right?
Yeah, it's Bape. Mm-hmm.
Nike, after 20 years, decides to sue Bape. Now, this is going to tell you how much I don't know. So Bape is a company or a brand that makes razzle dazzle shoes, from what I picked up when I read. And so basically what they did was they made a business off of taking Nike shoes and either like adding more color to them or different stuff like that. And now, after all of these years, what the article is saying is that because they are now rebranding and they're doing, they're starting to rebrand and they're starting to now sell up more shoes in the U.S. Now Nike is now suing them for using their designs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wondered when I read the article that said that they've been doing this for 20 years. How, first of all, I wondered how were they tracking this, in the sense of like how many of their shoes were they selling, and like what was the cutoff? They're like, as long as they do under 1 million pair, we're okay. But can it cost $1 million? Like, I wonder in the minds of that Nike and Nike's legal team, because I've seen other like Under Armour, specifically Under Armour, go after anybody. Yeah. So to see Nike make the statement like, we're gonna wait until they get somebody, now that they're making what it says, now that they're selling a lot of them in the US or selling a lot of them across the world, now we're gonna go ahead and sue them. I just thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, from what I understand, this is like a sneaker head, not a sneaker, like the skater, skateboarder, that type of vibe is who their initial target kind of is. I'm on the website now, and these shoes are high as hell. But not a sneakerhead also. So let's go to put that caveat out there. But yeah, these are Nike tennis shoes with a different logo on the side. They've got a star with the little swooshy thing that comes off of it, but and they've got some, y'all probably can't see that, but the colorways are dope. Like they are what you would want in a designer Nike type shoe. Essentially, I think if you're more for the fashion side of sneakers and things like that, then you're probably gonna want to rock with something like what they have. I heard this and I thought to myself, to your question, as far as why now, I thought a lot about the whole Ye and Adidas back and forth as far as the branding and the naming and the intellectual property and all of that, and I could see them very much trying to prevent something like that from happening. The whole inspired by the fast fashion that's been happening with some of the larger brands, with like some of the Sheins and that type of thing, where they've been swiping designs from small brands and designers who are these are not their images, that's not their work, those types of things. Nike, because they are who they are in the industry, may be trying to pull things back in a little bit to avoid being the next because Nike has great branding until they don't. We just see them a lot. They're super saturated in our marketing, but like Nike ain't slick. So we all know that Nike does what Nike does so Nike can keep a good coin.
Sure.
And I see this as like preemptive potential damage control more than anything, because not knowing, I didn't know this brand existed. I heard about this via another podcast, and I went to Google and I was like, ooh, when I saw the pictures, I was like, and then to hear that it's been going on for this long, I thought, okay, either they know something we don't know is coming, or they're being wise and checking how all of this played out in previous things and tried to get this taken care of without the big hoorah. Because I've never known about a bait shoe, or not. I'm not their target in that regard to been on their radar, but I could absolutely see why this could be something they would be doing to avoid that show.
I wonder if, because to KG's point, KG makes the point that Nike isn't doing well. I know Nike is declining in the sense that I know that maybe in the US at least, like LeBrons aren't selling like they thought, like they used to. We know they just got rid of Kyrie. KD's ain't selling. You know what I mean? Like, so I know the basketball shoe isn't. I know they recently, over the past couple of years, they got rid of their golf line, so they're not doing that anymore. So there's definitely some restructuring happening at Nike. I wondered if maybe they were going to try to go into this market themselves, and in order to do that, wanted to make sure that if there was some that the companies that were trying to use their
that's a possibility,
would then turn around. Because if now they're starting to sell more, if that is true, then somebody in Nike might be like, hey, wait a second, they're using our stuff. Why don't we just do this? Why don't we just hire, somebody who can design like this? And we already got, all they're doing is taking the Air Force One and doing, razzle dazzle in it. Why can't we do that?
Because that's what a lot of these reseller and other brands are like. People are not buying shoes to hoop in. Like, there's a certain group of people who are still looking for tennis shoes to like do sports in, to go actually play the sports in, which is great, but there is definitely something to the fashion side of tennis shoes, and it's shifted to the point where you cannot deny it, and people are spending $352 for this shoe, $400, $500 for these shoes, because they go with my fit. That's the popping colorway. This is the new texture. This is the new thing. I can make my own shoe. You can give me all these swatches and I can boop, 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 and I got the only shoe out here like this. You know what I mean? So like for any large brand with the buying power and teams available to them, they would be crazy to not at least try to see what they could do if you're at a Nike level. So also, yes, that could very well be a potential rebrand taking place. And that could be good or bad, because again, we're dealing with Nike,
right?
Because we got a lot of designers who are up and coming and who are killing it with some of these designs that they're doing, these free hands and taking your regular old, your shell toe, your Air Force One, wherever it is, and killing it. So now we're gonna swipe that income, that revenue stream for these artists. Are you gonna go pay these people, or are you going to upload images into a computer, run them through a machine, and have them do it, where these people have been literally painting and providing art, creating art on people's feet and charging what they should, for the work that they put forth on that shoe, as opposed to you uploading an image, pressing print, and sliding that bitch through there. Like, that's not how that works. That's your resources available, but go and hire those people to create that art to then run through the machine, if that's what we're gonna do.
Right.
I hope they do it the right way, but I would not be mad if they're creating that. I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do that. I said rebrand. Yeah, we're gonna see. I think Ja is. Yeah, I don't even. Ja Morant.
Oh, okay.
I don't think even Ja could save the basketball shoe. I think basketball people are going to buy basketball shoes, but
Yeah.
outside of that, I don't think there's a market, that much of a market for them like they used to be.
No. Jordans are the only like basketball shoes that people still try and buy like that. Yeah. Agree.
So,
Mm-hmm.
all
And
right.
to me, it's ugly. That's a whole other thing.
Well, Jordan,
People used to buy this. No, well, yes, some Jordans, but
Come
like
on.
the other basketball shoes that they give into to the art when the LeBrons and whoever the shoes be ugly. We only buy the shoes because they attach to
What's
the
your
people
name?
like last shoes.
What's
You
your
know
name?
what I mean? So like, it's one thing I can understand why that's struggling because you know, if the shoe's not attractive, you charge ridiculous prices for it, and then I'd rather have this other shoe anyway. That's like less money. I'm gonna wear it more. Yeah, do better. Like, let's figure that out. Like that, I've thought that for a very long time. Again, not the target, but I like tennis shoes, so I'm like, I would not want to buy that shoe. That shoe is ugly.
And I also feel like we're not there. I was like, I'm not their target audience anymore, too. So. Like I recognize, I stopped buying basketball shoes a long time ago. So
I've even heard people who buy basketball shoes be like, "No, I'm not gonna wear it, but it's their shoe." I'm not buying a shoe I'm not planning on putting on my or would not put on my feet. I even understand the value of the reselling of the shoes that you get them and don't wear, but I'd want to put it on at some point. I'm not buying no shoe I would never put on. Like I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Just because your name is on it, I think
that's what we used to do. Outside, like I said, we that was the game. I mean, it was you. Oh, you got the new Jordan, you got the King Griffey Juniors, you got the Bo Jacksons, you got the Magic Johnsons. Oh, you the new David Robinsons. That's what we used to do, and that's what we called them. They weren't. They looked good. They were just whose name was on the shoe. So, and maybe that's part of. Part of it is the whole piece of, sports are different. So it's really hard to even get to that level where you can market and brand somebody like that because they're always right. The Sean Kemps, exactly. The GPs, because everybody's getting traded everywhere. So it's hard for people to love somebody, it's like, because you on my team for 3 years and then you're gone. And so now I don't want your shoes no more. And so you almost
I get it. And women do the same thing with our bags and our shoes and stuff. Like, I'm not a super fan of the bags that have like the logos all over them and stuff. Like, I don't like fashion with logos and all over the clothes anyway. Like, but there are women who we go stupid for the Louis V's with the LV all over it and the coat and all of those things. And I'm like, I won't. I mean, there's a limit to that. There's only so much a person can take of those things simply because it is who, it's this name on it, those types of things. So yeah, we definitely have our own things that we do. That don't make no damn sense.
Listen, I used to look back in the day. I love my IOUs.
What's that?
You don't remember? That's where I grew up with white people, so we were IOUs.
Right.
And Jabos.
I remember Jabos.
And Z Cavaricis. That's not grew up with the white people. So.
No, I have some shout out for. I do remember hearing Z Cavarici actually.
Yeah. I didn't have any, but
you were familiar.
I had some IOUs. They were going on sale. They were going. The sweatshirts are going on sale like 2 for $45. My dad would buy 2 of them for me.
Hey, come through, daddy.
That's about it. Yeah. Whoa. All right, those people are whack. We wanted 33. Patrick. Yep, Patrick Ewings. Yes. She said IOU. Yep. See.
Okay. All right.
See? I'm talking about, and they said IOU on it. That was the.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's get into our topic. I guess. So I have called this one tonight. What did I name this one? I named this one Obligations, Expectations, and Intention versus Intention. Because I think that's where. So we're gonna start with this scenario. There was the scenario I posted earlier, and then we'll go from there into this topic, which I think that's the bigger part of this topic is that. But we're gonna get to that. All right, so here it is. It said, So this was actually said fellas only, but I asked for the ladies and the fellas to give me a response. So the story was: I go to hang out alone. A male that has shown interest in me sees me out and invites me to sit with him at his table. I oblige. At the end of the night, my bill comes and it's $35. He does not offer to pay. Is he wrong? Say it again. I go to hang out alone. A male that has shown interest in me sees me out and invites me to sit with him at his table. I oblige. At the end of the night, my bill comes and it's $35. He does not offer to pay. Is he wrong? KG says yes. Okay. Go ahead.
This post cracked me up. It really, really did. We wanted to make this one so much more than what it just was. To me, I don't think he was wrong, flat out, and I don't think she was wrong for asking these questions. I had notes for how this could have gone much better in the future. I think the thing that was different for me for this was that this person was not a stranger. This person there's a known interest in her romantically that's already been known. She stated that. And they're at the same place. And to me, I read this as, oh, I see Shorty over here. I've been trying to holler at her for a little bit. We're in the same place. I'm going to take advantage, not in the negative. I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity of us being in the same place and invite her over to share a meal with me. That's what I read from that before I looked at, before I read her obvious frustration with the whole situation. So I'm like, yeah, I get why she's like, what the hell? Why did you invite me over here if I was fine over here by myself, eating my food? That was just me, keeping myself company, just fine. And then I'm over here, and now, here we are at this table. She didn't say she was pissed that he did not pay. She said he did not offer to pay. She obviously could have paid for her own food. She was at the restaurant already sitting down. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? $35 is not like she had a $150 bill by herself or anything. $35 is not a lot of money at all. And if you've gone out of your way to either come over or send the waitress over to ask if I want to sit, like, bro, let's not play. You ain't trying to assist me at the end of this. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Especially if you already know that you've already established that you're romantically interested in me. Mm-hmm. So no, I don't think he's necessarily wrong. Nobody's obligated to pay for anything one way or the other. You know what I mean? Your money is your money. But I would think he would be absolutely crazy if he thought that me and you were going to be romantic after this. I'm not. That would turn me off from wanting to have an actual date with you, knowing that you opted out of just covering that. Sorry. I didn't understand how everyone was all, going in on her because she asked the question. I completely understood why she was confused. Like, why the hell you send me off? Why you call me over here? You know what I mean? Like, drop your number on the napkin, do it old school, and or just, hey, lady, and keep it moving if that's what we gonna do. But yeah.
So, okay. So the question is he wrong? So first of all, he's not obligated. Let me start there. I don't think he was obligated to do it, which is what the conversation was. What was on the post. So I think he was obligated. I don't think because he invited you over, he was obligated to pay your bill. Let me start there. I have questions though. So my first thought was, if I am interested in a woman and I am about to go out to dinner by myself, or if I'm interested and I'm about to go out to dinner, and unless I'm going with my guys or going with somebody, why would I not ask her, hey, what you doing for dinner?
Mm-hmm.
Like I would think if I was interested in somebody, I'd be like, hey, what you doing for dinner? I'm ready to go to wherever they were. You know, wanted to see if you wanted to meet me up there for dinner. If I'm interested in you. Because to me,
that's saying that you're only interested in one person, though. You don't date multiple people at one time.
True.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm going by myself, like so I'm either going to do that or, and again, this is me thinking how I think. First of all, because I'm not dating multiple people at one time, so let's start there.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm also going to, at some point during the day, would have thought that if I'm interested in you, we would have been having conversation. So your dinner plans would probably be something that I would have, hey, what you doing tonight? What you getting into tonight? Oh, I'm going to dinner at such and such by myself. Oh, you have company? Do you mind if I just... So if I'm interested in this person, to me, those are all things that I think I would have done. So this scenario to me is kind of weird. But let's just assume none of that happened. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I get there. I see her. I invite her over. Again, he is not obligated. But if I am interested, I think at that point we are both still in this space where there's at least the illusion that we trying to impress each other.
Mm-hmm.
So a $35 tab, I wouldn't think I would have made a big deal out of it. Mm-mm. Like, hey, thanks for coming over and sitting with me. Hey, I got a tab.
Yeah.
I just don't see. Now, if it was a $350 tab,
different.
That might be different.
Right.
That might be different. So I don't think he was obligated. I think it was a weird move. I think it was just
a very weird move
in the sense of $35. But this is where I also then thought through the idea of, if we're talking about obligation, that an obligation is different because because now if there's an obligation, now when we get into obligations, there's almost this reciprocity or something that's expected. And I think that now is getting fuzzy. Like, I'm supposed to do this. And I think that's where you and I are saying, like, no, he didn't have to do that. That wasn't something that he was supposed to do. It would have been nice. It would have been kind. It would have been impressive. It would have been gave you a whole lot of points. But because you didn't do it, and if I'm the type of woman who has this as an expectation, then now I'm gonna be turned off, and I'm probably not gonna date you again. So I think that's where I get into the obligations, expectations part of it.
Did you ask us if he was obligated? Were you the one that asked about obligation, or was that just where we went with it in the comments?
I think that's
because I don't know where we got with obligation. Even I think I think we went there with that. I don't think anyone, her asking, is he wrong? I didn't get obligated from that. Yeah. I get, why the hell did he call me over here? If for this date-like situation, if you weren't going to treat it like a date, like you ain't trying to be my homeboy. You know what I mean?
The first comment was, no one is obligated to pay for anyone, and that's what started there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Because I'm like, nobody said this man was obligated. She asked with these details, is he wrong for doing this? And wrong again, I think, is he's not necessarily wrong. I just do not think this was a smart strategy for attempting to date this woman.
Right.
I have a question, because there's a comment that KG made, and this is another comment that was made by some men on the post and in another conversation that I was having, that like her energy may have been like throughout the dinner, he might have wanted to pay, and then throughout the dinner decided, okay, I'm not really feeling her like this, so I'm not interested anymore, so I'm not gonna pay for her. I'm not a man. I'm not dated women, multiple times in where it worked or didn't work or anything like that. Before this new age dating thing, when men took out women and it was understood because understood that I'm going to pay, and we weren't talking this 50-50 go Dutch coffee date. All the it was a proper date, decent amount of money spent, not extravagant, but just a nice meal, maybe a drink, a appetizer or dessert, whatever, simple. But say they go out on the date, he doesn't really dig her energy or will see himself with her in the future. Were men actually saying, like, at the end of the night, I don't think I'm going to pay for your portion of the meal because I don't see a future with you? Or did they still pay for the meal and then just like not take her out again when he realizes I don't want to do this with you?
I've never.
Was it ever this? Now during this conversation, I've decided I'm cool, so I'm gonna keep your point of the coins, even though we're here. Like, and I'm saying it that way, of course, just for. Yeah. But like, I don't know that part. No, like,
I've never known a man to be like, yeah, I don't like her. She got to pay for her own meal. No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Why? Like, and you called me over here. I was over here fine. Like, and I even saw like some of the comments like, well, maybe he was trying to make her feel better by bringing her, but she didn't want her. Girl, if you don't leave me alone, like, it is 2023. Women can have a meal by themselves without a man. Oh, let me go make her feel better. She's sitting by herself. Boy, if you don't get out my face.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem with that, though. So had he have done that, had he have saw her, she saw him, they both eat alone, and he not invited her or tried to go sit with her, that would have been problematic too. If a man is interested in you and you see him at a restaurant, he's eating by himself, he sees you at a restaurant, he's shown interest. There is y'all talking, and he doesn't at least offer to sit with you or you come sit with him. In most instances, that woman would have had a problem with that too. Because now, if you're interested in me, why don't you want to take this opportunity?
I would want you to come acknowledge that I'm here. Like, hey, I see you over here having a nice night, da-da-da. But I wouldn't expect you to want to join me on my meal or me to join you. I wouldn't.
Most women would either want you to join or, just like in this instance, offer. Hey, are you meeting? I'm not sure if you're meeting anybody. If not, you're more than welcome to come over here. I can come over here. Would that be like, if he didn't do that, most women would have a problem with that. I promise you.
That's crazy.
I promise you that.
I just would like for you to acknowledge that you see me and I see you, but you don't know why I'm here having this meal by myself. And I don't know why you're having your meal by yourself.
I agree.
But it's hard for me to say that, but then say that, like, there's no, this is so crazy. Dating, I don't know what we've done with this.
So this is the point of why I said obligations versus expectations and intention. Because in the conversation, what didn't happen, and again, I know, and if you read her post, she eventually said this was a fake scenario. But what you
good. It's good to check about. Yeah, it was really good.
But if as a woman, your response is automatically, I'm done with him if he does this, without at least, this is my opinion, without at least making it known that there was an expectation or that there was something that you wanted, like, hey, I'm used to this. I'm used, like, at least, and vice versa. I think in the context of a relationship, or we're trying to date, we don't know each other's expectations. And so a lot of times what we're doing is we have an expectation of somebody to do something. They don't do it. And then we don't even give them the opportunity to learn the expectation and to meet the expectation. It's just, you're out of here because you didn't meet my expectations. It's like, but maybe the brother wasn't raised like that. Maybe in his mind, not mine, but in his mind, asking her to pay her bill would have been problematic. I don't know, but I'm just saying, but I think at least have the conversation.
I'm with
45.
this.
I should have 50.
That's how I feel. That's exactly, because I understand that, and you're right. That's the mature way to deal with it. I'm gonna bow out on this one. I choose the high road a lot of times. I'm sticking with my thoughts on this. At 39 years old, at 39 years old, if we are out somewhere and you are interested in me romantically, and I even offered this I said this on the post. If you do not, if he had no desire to pay for her meal, then a come over with your number or an acknowledgement. Hey, I see you. You look nice tonight. I hope you enjoy your meal. I just want to let you know you over here. You looking good. Enjoy yourself. Okay. No, all right. Thank you. Appreciate it. I will do that. You have a good evening. All right. And I'm going on back to my night. I've seen you. You made your impression. Life moves on. And there is no confusion as to what happened. Mm-hmm. You've just popped back in and done your thing, and you Denzel on back to your table. Now we can make googly eyes at each other. You happen to meet me at the end and say, you know what? Let's not do this alone next time. Let's go out on a date. If that's how you feel, okay, about how an actual traditional official date is supposed to go, because that's the back and forth that was going on the point. It wasn't an official date. He didn't ask her out. They was just there to say, okay, fine, have that. We'll do that then. Okay, leave me alone, sir. I don't want to just leave me be to have my meal by myself then. But at this big age, if you get up or send sis over here to have me come rearrange my nice comfy nook of solitude over here, bring my plate and drink, come sit down with you and get reacquainted and shift my whole thought process to now entertaining you.
They're entertaining each other, but okay.
Yeah, but I was fine. You invited me.
Sure.
I didn't sashay my hips over here and say, hey, can I sit down with you? Because now I'm in entertain mode. You invited me. You set an expectation that there's going to be conversation and carrying on here, because there's already a precedence that's been set up before. Okay. We're not strangers.
Right.
Here we are at this table. We're having this conversation. We're doing the thing. The tab comes. You've been Mr. Big Shot all this time. You sit over to make the big to do for be the cup sitting da. Now the bill coming. You like, no, I got mine for $35. I am turned off. Get out of my face. I paid $35 for my homegirl. I paid $35 to feed you, my homeboy, who I'm not romantically interested in any capacity. There is no way on God's green earth or in Satan's hot burning hell you can end this date after I slide my card across this table for $35 plus tip, and you go ask me for a date. Now, boy, bye. Get out of my face, because the man who is going to be my man, the basics is feeding me. Like, that's not even going to be a question if he gonna pay $35 to feed me. Like, that, I'm not going to debate that. I shouldn't have to tell you that I expect for that to be a simple in a date-like situation. Like, and that's just me. And hey, that I might not have, if ever in that position, I won't have a whole long line of suitors in this current dating situation. And I'm A-okay with that. Like, I'm fine with that. If that is what I gotta go ahead and do. No, because I know there are men who this would never even be a question for him. He would not even debate it. Why are we talking about this? Girl, what? Put your purse away. Are you serious right now? I invited you over here. There's some men I know that would pay for my meal from his table and would have never even walked over to me and said a damn word.
Absolutely.
Those are the type of men that I am most compatible with. Which is why this man would now be a play cousin to me, and I would carry on with my life.
So
that's my expectation.
So that's your expectation, and your expectation is for the person who approaches you to already know your expectations, or to already be what you're.
Yep. I think because that's the expectation of dating. I think if that is for how we came up and what I'm used to, that's what men do. So I need a man who's moving like that. And where I don't have to tell you that. I don't want to have to tell you those things. I want to tell you specific nuances and details about Shaquila's personality and the things that make me tick. You paying for a damn dinner date or you coming over to me, that is basics to me. I should not have to line item that for you. I
So
don't.
what is your, so where does, is there a, what's the word I'm trying to, is there a, where does this this line of expectation end? Is it just, so you expect him to know this? Is that the norm that you expect him to know? Like, what things is he not supposed to know? That, like, because here's my thing. My thing is, I hear what you're saying, but I think that at the same time, there then is, I think that we are asking people, asking good, we are possibly, and you say you're fine with it. That's okay. That's good. But I think that there are a lot of people who are not, who are saying they're fine with it and really want to be in relationships and are missing opportunities because maybe not this particular instance or this particular scenario is happening, but a lot of scenarios like this are happening, and people are not having the conversation that would then give that person the opportunity to recognize that they really just, that the expectation was missed. They didn't know. They didn't know any better. So how do we discern between what's the expectation that a person should know, or versus an expectation that it's okay for us to give them?
I don't know. For me, I would think something specific about me. So I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, that I like this thing versus that thing, or I have a preference of this place versus that place, or I don't know. It's, to me, it's like that. I don't know why I don't know. This one just seems so basic to me. These types of norms are no longer norm, and that, I think, is where where that hybrid part comes into me, comes into play for me, because I do still very much like, this is,
you're traditional. So, there's a whole lot of,
I am in this instance. Yeah. I am very traditional, and I'm not, because I think if she would have, he invites her over, and if she shows up at that table and is like, so this isn't a real date, like, let me know what this is. Are you asking me now on a date, or like at the end of this, am I going to be responsible? Now she's money hungry, where she's just looking for a free meal, but she's just trying to have an understanding. Because when do we allow norms to just be our norm? Why is everything that just used to flow now under question? Because now it's like the people who aren't even in that position of wanting a free meal or anything like that are now reading these things like, in this scenario, why are we confused at why she's confused? You know what I mean? Well, it wasn't a real date. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, you invited me over here to sit with you. Why? When is she supposed to think, oh, he's actually interested in, like, and then the next thing you know, well, she ain't letting me know that she want me. Like, how am I supposed to know? She ain't giving me no signs. Bro, like, when we do, now we're assuming because you ain't said that you really want me. And like, I'm so confused. Reading through the comments,
I'm removing past the scenario. I'm at that. My question is not within the scenario. It's in the context of at what point, because if we remove the scenario, even something like opening doors, yeah, there's even something like that. There's for some ladies, that's an expectation. That's something that a man should know that ladies like. For some, it's not. So that's what I mean in terms of like, how do we make that determination as to what, like, okay, he should know this, she should know that. And it's not just ladies too, by the way.
Yeah, no. I feel what you're saying now. Thank you for taking me out of that scenario, because I was like, what? This is so silly to me. So thank you for that. But I think sometimes we've started to question what we'll do for each other on a man-woman scale in a way that baffles me. We do these things for strangers, but as soon as we bring romance into it or potential courtship into it, now we disqualify just being good people to each other. So for me, like, if you would open the door for a stranger, then I would want you to open the door for me. And if you're interested in me, like, go out of the way to make sure, like, you're you're there to get the door. Like you're making sure I'm not opening the door. I have a very simple thing for me.
If I
Be a good
didn't,
person.
but if I
If
didn't
you
normally
didn't,
open the
then
door,
I
then
would
you like
probably
open the door.
I wouldn't not date a man for not opening the door for me. But I would tell him if it was something that he did more than one time, I would say, you know, I kind of like it when you open the door for me.
Okay.
I would say that.
Yeah.
I would eventually say those things. But if he goes back and forth with me, well, you know, these females don't like them, that would be a bother. I don't like that. Like now I have a problem with you. Just be like, okay, cool. Because I don't know. It's just we made basic stuff so much more difficult.
I think that we have made everything different. That's my, and that to me is the problem. That's why I'm saying I think that a lot of these things are not. In some instances, they're just, to your point. Like if you're like, hey, I like it when you open the door and they go through all of these random women these days. But I didn't ask.
Drives me crazy.
I asked you. I like it. So. But I think, again, on both instances, both sides, men and women, we do this to each other where we're not even saying, hey, I notice you don't usually open the door. I like it when you open the door. Mm-hmm. That makes that, I like, as a woman, I like that. But, oh, okay. And then at that point, now he has the opportunity to say, okay, she has made it clear to me what her desire is. And so because I care for her, let me do this. Vice versa. Yeah. He has made it clear that this is a desire of his. I care for him. I want him to feel cared for. Let me do. We're not in a lot of instances doing that. We're just saying, girl, we went to the mall. He ain't opened the door. He ain't nothing. And you're like, wait, hold on. Yeah. Or we went and she just ordered the most expensive thing. She like, that's a whole, like, come on, y'all. Like, at least have the conversation. At least let people know what you want, and then that to me gives you more of an indication of whether or not the person is a good fit. Because now I know, like, if you go to your example, if you going through a whole diatribe about open doors and how women get mad for opening doors and and bye, just like. If a woman goes through a whole diatribe about something for me, I'll be like, may the Lord watch. Keep it moving. Yeah. Okay. You're not the one. Got it. Yep. Like I've had, and you and I've had this. I've had whole conversations with women. I'm like, I like her. And then we have a conversation about something, usually church or something, and she tell me her opinion. I'll be like, well, thank you. It's nice knowing you.
Never mind. Yep.
And I'm like, yep. Thought I had one. So, I mean, it's just, I think those are things, those core values are things that we can find out, or it can be changed, and we can see, like, as a person willing to make those adjustments. And then when you show me you're not.
So for that instance, so like what you said, in that everything could be going cool, you like it, and then those things change and you're like, well, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm good now. Nice meeting you. Is that because you know that it's not worth it to you to even debate it with them or let them know I actually feel this way and I don't like that? Or do you have room to move on that? What is that? Because like with your situation, that some of these things are very clear for me. Like I'm not going to be going back and forth with no man about paying for no meals. I'm not going to do that. Yeah. The same way I wouldn't, I'm not going to be going back and forth with him about some of the stuff that I'm going to do for him. You know what I mean? Like it's not about the meal or the money. Like that's not it. It's about the care. It's about the desire to care for and provide for. Like I spend good money by myself on my own food, kicking my feet under the table, happy as hell. Okay. And you know what I mean? So like, it's not about the money for a lot of women. It's more about the desire to care for and to be that one that provides your sustenance. Like it's the most basic caveman, man-woman shit that goes on in that type of situation. Yeah. So those are one of those things. Like I don't want to debate. I'm not going to, because I feel like the type of woman that I am, that shit is unnecessary for me to be going back and forth with a man. The same way, like some things on church, you just are not going to go back and forth with a person about. So like, I don't necessarily think that could be. I think those are things that we have to give each other space on for what our cores are, and recognize that there's something. Love this word, compatibility. Just because the way that I date or select for myself doesn't align the way you select for yourself, doesn't necessarily mean that my way is wrong or your way is wrong or whatever. It just means we might not be compatible, bro. Or
Absolutely.
sis.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think there's a difference between, well, let me say this. I think that a lot of times we don't get to the space to even know if we are compatible because we're getting stuck at this frivolous stuff, and we never get to that. So my initial thing was like, we haven't even got to the point to find out if, let me go back to this scenario, even though I know it's a weird scenario,
You're good. Yeah,
if
you're good.
these are good people to actually be compatible with each other just simply because of this. We don't really know that yet. This is an indication, but it's not really a true picture. So when we get to those types of things that now, like you said, are our core values, are our core issues, if we are we able to have those conversations to determine whether or not this is something you are willing to do the things that show care. Because what's happening is now in the dating world is you have this tug of war, and relationships and marriages too. There's this tug of war. Like, I feel like I want you to serve me. No, I want you to serve me. I want you to serve me. No, I want you to serve me. I don't feel like you serve me. I don't feel like you serve. I don't feel like you make me happy. Well, I don't feel like you make. And so there's not this thing that we're not willing to say, okay, listen, you know what? How can I serve you? How can I help you? Or if we're doing it, some of it we feel like we're doing it and we're the only one doing it. So now there's not this willing to change. Like, so it's just this whole thing of, again, of unmet expectations. And because the expectations are unmet, now we've just become callous. And now we're just saying, listen, meet my needs.
Yep.
Do what I need. And everybody's just like, kind of like, well, F it. If you ain't going to do what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do it you. Forget it. We all just gonna be single out in this mud.
Yeah,
we're gonna be sitting at the restaurant or with our $35 bills alone, which isn't a bad thing, but just not forever. I can't do that forever. I like soft eyes. Praise the Lord.
Yeah, very good points. Very good points. I think it is. I think, and I know that a lot of the way that I feel about these things is due to my age. If I was younger and didn't, didn't feel how I feel and wasn't as traditional, I might have more wiggle room to some of these things. Like, I completely understand that I have a lot less patience for some of that back and forth that I see taking place currently. And like I said earlier, like, I'm okay with that. I understand it. I get it. I know where it comes from. And I'm okay with that because I also understand that I'm not out here using people. I'm not the type of woman who is would be dating for free meals or trying to drain a man's pocket. That's not me, like, at all. And so that doesn't concern me. That whole conversation, I'm confident in saying, no, that's cute for you, but no thanks.
It's not for me.
And it's not for me. And the man who assumes that is my intention is already probably not in alignment with my energy anyway. Like, I'm not her. That's not what this is.
You also don't present like that either.
That has not stopped men from approaching me as though I was that girl. All of my energy. All of my energy does not present as though I am trying to get in your face for no meal or nothing like that. But I've been talked to, I've been approached, I've been commented back and forth as though because I don't agree. You know what I mean? Where I think, yes, you should. But well, you just trying to. Oh, okay, you carry on. That's cute, but no, because I know me. You know what I mean? And I'm confident who I am and what I bring to. Like, I'm dope as hell. Like, and you. At the bare minimum, $35 is not that big a deal, you know what I mean, or whatever it is, and so like I think that I know that my age and me knowing who I am has a lot to do with that, and that's not to say that a man wouldn't also.
That also speaks to the fact of to not just with you, but in situations like that, because I've heard other ladies say the same thing, and men that these are people who have not, to your point, even gotten close enough to even know who you are. And so the assumption, a lot of times the assumptions, or even use the things that we are obligating people to do are not based on the individual, but they're based upon our past experience. that lead us to do things to try to protect us from
Right.
recreating this scenario that happened. So now I got to put these things up to show, so you show me that you actually like me, as opposed to that you're just trying to use me for my money, or you trying to use me for my body. So we put some of these things up to try to keep that, instead of getting to know. Because again, any man who has a conversation with you for a long period of time would be like, nah, that's not how she get down. And vice versa. If a woman were to come, like, there are certain women that if you talk to me would automatically know, I can't fool with that man. No, but if you don't know me, if he doesn't know you, or they only know you from a distance or a post or something like that, or seeing you walk by, then it's like now you have based your whole idea of who I am on something that ain't got nothing to do with who I actually am.
That's the thing that I get the most often, is when people meet us on the show or on posts, and then like we have a mixer or something, and then they're like, "Mimi, you cool as hell. I thought you." I'm like, how are y'all reading the words that I say? Like, as I say the same, I'm just the same sassy. I use the same words in person. Like, it's the same me. I say the same shit in person.
Sugars in person, though.
maybe. But like, I'm like, it's always so funny to me, because it's one of those things. Like you said, if you just spend a little time with a person and get a a feel for who they are, you kind of can pick up on those types of things. Yeah. So it's.
But they're not people. Again, people aren't doing that. People are entering into dating, with preconceived ideas of what they want and what they expect based upon, again, what they've experienced. And we don't do that anymore. Again, you've heard me say this hundreds of times. We do not get to know people anymore. We don't sit on the phone and talk. We don't ask questions. We just go straight from you cute, or you got a nice car, you dress nice, we gonna look good together,
right?
To let's go on a date, to let's spend money, let's have sex, and we're already there. So we haven't done any of the the work, the pre-work, so to speak, to find out, do I actually vibe with this person? At the core of, who can I say the core of this person is? Most people couldn't tell you that.
Yep.
They couldn't tell you that. They couldn't tell you who the person that they've been dating for. They don't know. They just like out here just, who are the city girls? They just
the rap group.
Oh, okay. But they just out here, people are out here just doing that and trying to find somebody who match. If you look good, and then it's gonna work. It's like it's gotta be more than that.
Yeah.
It's gotta be more than that.
It is, and it's and this is the point I was trying to make earlier. I think we were talking about earlier. Like, we have started to reduce the way that we are qualifying people for our attention is how long do they stay with the least amount of my effort involved. And if they are willing to deal with the least amount of effort, then I will then allow them to have the more.
Wow.
And that, for a person who is focused on getting all of the things and all of the wonderful and all of the joy and all of the wonders of life and looking for the positives and things, is not going to be here for someone trying to give me the lesser to see.
Sure.
And I think that honestly is how it translates. And that's not saying I don't understand or hear when men say, I am sick to death of paying for date after date after date after date, and nothing comes of that. And I say to that, why are you going on date after date after date after date to the point where now you feel like it is like depleting pockets? There's something, you're missing a step before you get to the date of the date of the date of the date that costs money. Where are the conversations? That's a strategy adjustment that needs to be made. Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to stop doing all the things that actually get me the dates. Like, Because if you are a caring, generous, loving, affectionate, communicate, like if you are all the things that check all the list for most women, and you're actively trying to entertain and engage with the woman, and really have something good come from it, starting with less, like be who you are, and then show up fully who you are. And then if you're qualifying people for like their qualities and how you engage, and the actual compatibility between you, you're having conversations, you're having opportunities to learn if this is a person that I actually might want to take out and spend some time and money on, put some effort and thought into creating an evening that they won't forget, or an afternoon that they won't forget, because now I know some things that actually I could put some stuff together. I'm not shooting in the dark or doing what I did for old girl a couple weeks ago, because I know something about this woman.
Yeah.
So to me, yeah, don't come at me with y'all know I don't do tests. Don't
It's not about tests.
Don't play with me like that. If you like me, like me. Come with it, and I'm gonna come with what I got, and I'm not gonna play with you, and I'm gonna let you know what it is. I think a lot of women move that way. Women got way too much going on. Women got these comments. The chick who can sit here and go back and forth with you for hours on a post. 9 times out of 10. Like, let's just be real. Let's just look at that, okay? Like, let's be smart, fellas. Sis. Okay? So, like, let's not make these people the control group, okay?
No, I don't. But I think we have to also honor that everybody doesn't think like I'm not disagreeing.
Everybody does.
I'm saying, but I think that's the point is to your point. If you do that pre-work before, then you can be part of that is to weed out who. And again, it's not about tests; it's about character. And let's just have the conversations to figure out the character. So, there are absolutely some, yeah. It's like there's some dudes out there that is trash. There's some trash ladies out there, and we got to say that they are. And so you do have to absolutely do the work, do the things up front to find out who this person is. Find out who this person is, what they actually want out of life. What do they bring? And I don't mean like bring to the day. I mean like what do they bring in terms of compatibility to a relationship with you? Does what they have, does who they are match where you are and where you're trying to go?
Mm-hmm. Big facts.
So I think we do have to do more of that because you said a strategy change is really just shifting back. That's what we used to do.
It is.
We have to. I think part of the thing too
is child is light, Jesus.
You all right over there?
Yes, I'm trying not to hurt myself again, because if this bam's on my damn forehead and I get a little
please don't do that.
Right. So yeah, I'd rather have
but
Jesus Christ.
You just made me lose my whole train of thought.
I'm sorry. No, me too.
My point was, if we go back to doing those types of things, then I think that would definitely help us. Oh, what I was going to say is, and don't allow what the cultural norm of we met. I was talking, me and Kyle were talking about this earlier. Like we met on, if I meet you on Tuesday, then I gotta take you out by Friday. Like slow down. Like it's okay for us to have conversation, to talk for a week or two before we say, okay, let's go ahead and go to dinner. Let's go to date. And it don't have to be the $500,
No, I actually would hope it wouldn't be for the first date. You don't know me well enough to plan an extravagant date that I feel is for me. You don't know me well enough if we only been talking 2 or 3 weeks. Like, you don't know me.
Exactly. But we have ladies out there who will say, first date, let's go to Steak 48. I think you should take.
No, we should do better at that. That's not.
I'm not saying take her to Applebee's either. But I mean, there are plenty of things we can do that are nice, decent places to go. Like, it's okay. So that's why I said I think, and don't allow culture to tell you that you can't go through those processes and through that step of really finding out. Because if you want something deep that's going to last, it's not going to be the dinner that attracts that you really want her to be attracted to. You want her to be attracted to who you are, and the conversation and the things that you see and the way you see life and see the world, and vice versa. Like you want to be attracted to her for those things, as well as you each want to be physically attracted to each other. So I ain't saying don't be physically attracted, but that just can't be it. That can't be it. So that's all I got tonight.
Yeah,
I'm done.
Good. You done? Put a pin in it. That's all you got.
I'm done.
He's like, and in show. Thank y'all for coming out. God bless you. Good night.
Those are my final thoughts too.
Wow. Yeah. I don't have much else to add to this since we're at final thought. That was a very good point, and I do agree. It is. I think we do make this much harder than it needs to be. I felt this way for a good while as far as what we're doing, as far as relationships go right now. Yeah. We've got a lot bigger fish to fry as a community than what we're doing, and we're weaker now than we've ever been. We're making more, we have more access, more education, all of those things, but overall as a community we are weaker because we are constantly doing this back and forth, and sometimes we don't hear each other simply for our own background noise, and that can be kind of scary, which is why I was like, well, how do we even get here to these questions with this? You know what I mean? And I think that was and knowing that this was one of those scenario posts from her, and then in our situation as well, I can imagine the comment threads between hers and ours and what they looked like. That's very interesting, and probably very telling of why we are in the situations that we're in. And I just really, it's hard to feel safe. Segue into next week. It's hard to feel safe and vulnerable with someone you don't feel cares about what you say.
Absolutely.
And what you feel.
Absolutely.
And it's so basic of understanding of how humans work. So to expect someone to meet the expectation of you being their person and them being yours and all of the fanfare that comes with that, but not prioritizing creating a safe place for them to stay in that groove consistently, man or woman, is where we are not doing a good job.
Absolutely.
And we're not being accountable for the hearts that we're showing up saying, give me, please. I want your heart. Can I have it? Yep. We're not being accountable to what we're doing for that.
To the point, Q, where you start to question, do they even want my heart? Mm-hmm. That's the thing. What do they really want?
What is it you really want?
Yep. Yeah. What is it that you really want? Because if you're not willing to do the things that make me feel safe, do you really even want me? Which is again, me.
Is it me or is it the thing?
Yep.
Whatever that may be, the money, the body, the access, the status.
I cannot begin to tell you the number of men who I talk to who are saying that exact thing. And I'm sure you have as many women who could say the same thing. Mm-hmm. And it is baffling to me to find, like, where did this get lost? What happened where you felt where all of a sudden now you feel like they don't even care about me? What I need, what I want, don't even matter. As long as I show up with a check.
Somewhere between my whole life revolves around you and you are the creator and the sole proprietor of your own happiness. God, yeah. That's where we lost it. Yeah. Yeah. I am
it's somewhere in there.
and then I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Either it's all on you or I got it. I could do it. Yeah.
We lost our care somewhere in there. Them damn Smiths.
That's what he said. Now I am not here to make her happy.
Okay. But she backed them up. That's why I say it's them damn Smiths. The both of them might be on that crazy mess. But it's somewhere between, oh, Daddy, what can I do to, you do you and I'm gonna do you.
I'm gonna do me. We'll
yeah. So that's where we are.
Yeah. Next week's gonna be interesting. All right, good show. As always, I appreciate your perspective. It is.
Thank you for letting me rant earlier, by the way, a little bit.
You need to get that off.
I did. You should have seen me over there reading. I was like, "Are we kidding? What is happening right now?"
Yeah, I just was. You see, if you notice, I didn't even comment. I just like I'm like, mm-mm.
Yeah, you did the Angela Bassett way to excel. You threw the bat, you walked away. I said, okay, I see what you.
Well, I asked some questions. I did ask questions
later. It like 92 comments in. Here you come with your follow-ups.
What I do though? If they ain't going, I'm gonna let them keep it rolling.
I mean, you did good.
I'm just on the comments. I'm like, I don't even know these people. Where are these people coming from? Like people were coming out the woodwork answering their questions.
It was a good one. It was good.
Like, oh, okay, all right. Hit a nerve on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but good show. We'll be back next week. For some more. We're
going to be talking about safety and vulnerability and access. I think those are words that are top of mind without looking at the actual prompt. Safety, vulnerability, access.
Yep.
Expectations. Yeah.
Yep.
Stay tuned.
I appreciate you.
Yep. Thank y'all for tuning in this week. This was good.
Yeah. I say thank you. I say everything you said. Thank you everybody for tuning in. It's a good show, y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Of course, if you have not shared, let's hit the share button. Tag your friends and tell them, hey, check this out. This was a good show. And then y'all make sure y'all are back here next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Go to SoundCloud if you missed anything. Go to YouTube if you missed it. Or just go back to the beginning of this one. On Facebook as well. So we'll see y'all next week. Y'all have a good rest of your week. And remember, love well. It's going to get you further than you expect.
Mm-hmm.
See y'all later.
Yeah.